Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The meaning is very sublime. May the Supreme Being protect us both by revealing to us the true nature of knowledge. May the Supreme Being protect us both by revealing to us the application of that knowledge. May we, the teacher and the disciple, strive together for the acquisition of knowledge. May the knowledge and wisdom that we acquire be illuminative and effective. May there be no dissension or disharmony between us, the teacher and the taught. Om, peace, peace, peace. This is an extremely important piece of prayer and advice by the great rishis, in which when the teacher and the taught come together, it's a joint venture, joint endeavor. Both the teacher and the taught should be equally motivated and effective, and the students should have Shraddha in the teacher. Shraddha means respect for the teacher, for the subject, and for the entire ambience in which teaching and learning take place, and the institution in which this teaching learning process becomes possible. Swami Vivekananda emphasized the idea of Shraddha repeatedly. He said, unless you have Shraddha, no education is possible. Unfortunately, in our country now, the youngsters are losing Shraddha in the elders for whatever reason, and the elders also, in turn, are unable or unwilling, for various reasons, to give their fullest, to pour their hearts out for the students. In the olden days, there was the system of Gurukula. The students lived in close proximity with the teachers, constantly observed how the teachers lived their lives, how they walked the talk, as we say, and they got influenced not only by the teaching, but also by the personality and the character of the teacher. For some reason, unfortunately, the mutual Shraddha between the teacher and the taught is declining. That is one important reason why our education seems to be in such a bad shape. And among so much of confusion, Ramakrishna Mission has been struggling and striving to keep this tradition alive. Many of those who are new to Ramakrishna Mission may be pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised what these Geruvadharis, the saffron-clad monks, have to do with secular education. Monks will do bhajan, will call on God, will do pravachana and the various Sanskrit scriptures. In what way are they concerned with biotechnology and rural technology, rural development and soil science? In what way and what authority do you have to impart education in such fields? This is exactly where Swami Vivekananda's educational vision comes in. Swami Vivekananda said, Para and Apara Vidya should be harmoniously combined. Para Vidya is the education of the spirit, spirituality, God, things which you cannot see with your senses. Whether you believe them or not, there are certain things which can't be really comprehended by the senses. It is not only spirituality, even in science. Some of the finest of the best scientists have said that there are certain things which you can't really comprehend. Einstein once said, "My religion consists of a humble adoration of an illimitable intelligence which our senses and the mind can comprehend only in the most primitive form." So that is called Paravidya. Aparavidya are all the various sciences, arts, humanities, all that we call the secular subjects. Swami Vivekananda wanted to remove this distinction between the secular and the sacred. Every knowledge is sacred. That is the Indian tradition. The Bhagavad Gita, the scripture of mankind, the universal scripture, it says, "Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate." There is nothing as sacred as knowledge. And therefore, my appeal to our new students who are coming into this great temple of learning, this mandira of the Ramakrishna Mission institutions, is that always remember knowledge is too sacred to be played with. Don't make it profane, mundane. Gyaner pavitrata jana khunna na hoy. আমাদের আচরণ, আমাদের কথা, আমাদের যে পঠন পাঠনের মধ্যে জ্ঞানের পবিত্রতা যেন থাকে, জ্ঞানের শিখা সবসময় উজ্জ্বল থাকে। শ্রদ্ধাবান লভতে জ্ঞানম, Bhagavad Gita says, Shraddhavan, a person endowed with Shraddha. Swami Vivekananda added a very interesting point to this idea of Shraddha. He says, just like the Guru should be respected by the disciple should have Shraddha in the Guru or the teacher, the Acharya, he also should have equal respect for the disciple and the student. This is a very profound statement. The Guru may be 75 years old, 70 years old, and the students who are coming in are like not only children, they are grandchildren. And how is it that a grandfather or a father will have respect for his child? This is the beauty. The respect is the teacher should feel that he is offering his knowledge to gentle, innocent, eager minds, and there's a kind of worship that he is doing. He is taking his chalk and writes on the blackboard. And now in the online, he is manipulating his mouse on the keyboard, and he is delivering knowledge through a particular electronic mode online. So that is the puja, worship he is doing, and the listeners are innocent, young, eager, gentle minds, and he should very respectfully, gently, sympathetically, compassionately, but very seriously pour this knowledge to these people. And the student should listen, receive this knowledge with equal eagerness. And knowledge is a very interesting commodity. I use the word commodity, not in the commercial sense, but the sense in which it is pricelessly transmitted from the teacher to the taught. Swami Vivekananda said, spirituality can be given to a person just like you can give a flower to somebody. You accept this. Knowledge also can be transmitted like that. And in the process of transmission of knowledge, there should be mutual respect, and for knowledge, respect for each other, the teacher and the taught, and knowledge grows by giving. This is a peculiar commodity in which the more you give, the more you not only receive, you grow in knowledge. As one lamp lights another, nor grows less. Nobleness enkindleth nobleness. This is a line of a poem which we read in school. So as one lamp lights another, the intensity of the luminosity grows. This is what we want to emphasize with the Ramakrishna Mission. Apart from the subjects we will be studying here, there is one compulsory subject which is known as the spiritual heritage of India, based upon Swami Vivekananda's teachings, particularly his teaching on India and the problems of India, how they can be solved. Unfortunately, in our country, the educated youths are least concerned about how our country can grow and become great. Some of the highly educated intellectuals among the elite institutes in India, I have heard from Swami Atmapriyananda and IIT Kanpur and elsewhere. By the way, Swami Atmapriyananda, our present Vice Chancellor, is a brilliant product of Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, and he stood second in the All India Joint Entrance Examination of IIT, and he did computer science and engineering there. He completed his integrated PhD. He was associate for about 10 years, and his cumulative grade point average, CGPA, was 10 out of 10. He was eligible for President's Gold Medal. For various reasons, he was denied it. Anyway, so we have such brilliant people. Why? I asked him, why did you come away and sacrifice? He said, brilliant, educated, intelligent youth of our country should sacrifice for the country. Not that you should stay in the country, you can stay wherever you are, but be deeply concerned about India. Swami Vivekananda wept, shed hot tears, thinking about the degeneration of our country. He spoke about the past glory of India, and he lamented how this great country has become so weak and so degenerate, the present decadence, and he prophesied a glorious future India. So we want all our students who have entered into the portals of the Ramakrishna Mission institutions to deeply think about India in which we are born. Swami Atmapriyananda once said, in IIT, some of the students used to say, you be I, unfortunately born in India. So what kind of graduates are we producing? Why is the government spending so much money to produce intelligent people who dislike the very country in which they are born? We don't want such people. We don't want such intelligent people. Wherever you are, you may go abroad, you may be in the top of the world, remember your roots. Always remember our country, which was so glorious once upon a time, has gotten into this position for our own fault. And again, it shall be glorious. Swamiji emphasized social commitment of the educated people. His very powerful words, I quote his words, so long as millions live in poverty and ignorance, I consider every man a traitor who, having been educated at the expense of the poor masses, pays not the least heed to them. In the Madras University, from which I graduated, the centenary hall in which convocation ceremony is held just overlooks the roaring sea, the ocean. Swamiji thundered, is there not water enough in the sea to drown you, your diplomas and gowns and so on? What are you doing to the poor people? Remember, the education that you are receiving here, particularly in this university, is highly, highly subsidized. Many people have been telling me, why don't you increase your fees? With such low fees, how is it that you can manage? And we are getting phone calls, emails from poor students who are unable to pay even this fees. They are reasonably good boys, but they didn't get the opportunity. Then I told them, we can increase fees like many other universities. To study in biotechnology, So studying medical biotechnology, you have to pay at least 4 to 5 lakh for the course. Then I asked them, if we increase this fees, whom are we catering? We don't want the students to pay very high fees, in lieu of which we will give education. In ancient India, the gurus never charged for the knowledge that they gave. Swamiji said this. Knowledge is too sacred to be sold. We are charging nominal fees. So pay these fees also in time. Because we find many of the students, for whatever reason, don't pay the fees in time. So we can't be chasing the students. These are certain basic things we should remember. And our students should be deeply concerned. They should have a goal. All of you who have entered these portals are blessed. As Shivapurnananda just said, I'm very fond of quoting this statement of Christ. Jesus Christ said, "Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. Many are called, but a few are chosen." Among the hundreds of applications which came, only hardly about 120 students have been chosen. You have been chosen by the divine will, and you should now strive hard to be able to prove yourself worthy of the admission that you have been granted by Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda in this university. Character building, life making, assimilation of ideas. This has been spoken about starting from Swami Suviranandaji, our Chancellor, Sarvalokhanji, and everybody spoke about it. And you will hear more about it, the spiritual heritage of India. We usually base it on a beautiful compilation of Swamiji's teachings called Swami Vivekananda on India, the problems of India, and the solutions of these problems. In Bengali, it is called Bharat Kalyan. Bharater Kalyan jitte hoy, jate amader Kalyan hobe. And we are sure you will be very bright, intelligent, young, knowledge seekers, and will not only be job seekers, you will be job providers, job creators. That's also one of our aims. Everybody running behind a job. Swami just said, Macaulay started his policy of education for the colony by saying, we shall give them such an education by which they will be completely and totally anglicized inwardly, but outwardly they will appear to be Indians. We will make clerks out of them. Even now, the name of the secretariat in Bengal is called Writers' Buildings, Mahakaran. Not only ordinary clerks, Maha clerks. That was Macaulay's aim. So let us not fall into this trap. Let us be self-confident. Let us create some new avenues for ordinary people. When we started this university, we chose certain thrust areas based on 3 criteria. One, these should be gap areas in the sense none of the other universities in India really address these areas. 2, these areas should be such that the Ramakrishna Mission institutions, centers, should have developed sufficient expertise in these areas over the decades. Narendrapur is a great example. For nearly 75 years, agriculture, rural development has been a main subject which has been cultivated in this center. So with a little toning up, we have been able to start this university. Number 3, the areas in which the students study in this university should impact the lives of the common man. They enhance the quality of the lives of common man. All our knowledge is a tinsel unless you apply it for the welfare of humanity. Swami Vivekananda gave us a great mantra, Atmano Mokshartham Jagat Hitaya Cha, for one's own self-development and emancipation from ignorance, and also for the welfare of the whole world. This twin ideal is bright before us. So I welcome all the students, and we're extremely fortunate that we have been able to procure and retain finest of the faculty. The recent medical biotechnology program which you have started, from the day one, we have been able to get very good faculty. Among them, we have Dr. Subrata Banerjee, who came away after its superannuation from Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics. We have Professor Rukshana Chaudhary from Indian Institute of Chemical Biology, Professor Kunal Roy, who is the teacher of some of the faculty members here. Dr. Devashish Banerjee was telling me when Professor Kunal Roy used to do classes for him, with bated breath they used to listen. One of the finest teachers. As I said, he began his life as a school student with the Rahara Ramakrishna Mission, and he is so excited and happy that his full cycle has come, is associated, and we have Professor Abhijit Chakrabarti associated still with the Saha Institute, but he will be fully devoting his energy to giving his best in the field of medical biotechnology for us, where Dr. Devashish Banerjee is a doctor, and several other doctors will be joining us. You already have Dr. Devashish Bhattacharya and many others who spoke to you just now, already serving in the Nandampur faculty members. So I was finally telling Professor Dr. Gautam Chatterjee, I think the number of teachers teaching this course will be more than the number of students. The ratio, usually the student-teacher ratio, we say it should be 20:1. Now, in our case, it may be 20 teachers teaching 15 students. So everybody is enthusiastic. Many guest lecturers also enthusiastic. So it is not a question of knowledge. You'll get plenty of knowledge, but you have to assimilate them, work on them. As Sarvottamananda rightly said in the very beginning, hard work, perseverance. So I end with a quote by Swami Vivekananda, who gave a formula, a mantra for success. He said, 3 things are essential for success: purity, patience, perseverance, and above all, love. Love for knowledge, love for the teacher, love for the institution, and patience and perseverance. Be patient. Suddenly, don't become intolerant and impatient. Persevere. And purity cannot be overemphasized. The greatest tragedy of the modern education system with adolescent and post-adolescent boys and girls becoming immoral and impure. I'm not talking about brahmacharya in the sense of becoming sannyasa and all that. What I do emphasize, what to appeal to all of you, live an extremely pure life as long as you are a student. What does it mean? It means control of the senses. People talk about freedom. What is freedom? Do you want the freedom of the senses or freedom from the senses? Swami Ramakrishna ji was an illustrious monastic disciple of Ramakrishna, said, freedom of the senses is what we do not want. We want freedom from the senses. My senses tell me, dictate to me, and I'm a slave of my eyes, slave of my ears, slave of my nose, slave of my tongue, slave of my sense of touch or the skin. And being a slave of my senses, how do I claim that I am free? He alone is free, who is free from the clutches of his senses. I shall be a master and not a slave. This is the appeal of the sense of purity. You maintain physical, mental, and verbal purity. For 6 months, I challenge you. Documentary evidence are available. Thousands of years our rishis and munis have practiced and documented it. You will see a new power comes to you. They call it Medha Nadi. Medha is the power of intuitive intelligence. It shall grow into you, and do not fall in the trap of the Western psychologists who say some kind of impurity is necessary for growth, so that it will go mad. No, it is not necessary. It is poisonous. Avoid all this as poison. Don't waste time in unnecessary, useless talk, watching useless things. Be focused. At the same time, you should play, you should be excellent in sports, excellent in music, various kinds of curricular and co-curricular activities, and form a harmonious team where the teachers happily teach, the students happily listen and absorb, and all the supportive staff, like your brothers and sisters, take good care of you. This is a huge Ramakrishna Vivekananda educational family in which you have come in. You are the new born babies, and we are delighted that all of you have joined us. All the best to all of you. May Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda, Swami Brahmananda, and all the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna and the Guru Parampara bless us all, and all your parents also should be relieved and happy that all of you have joined this. Maybe your parents are also listening to me. সমস্ত লোকের মিলে সম্মিলিত প্রচেষ্টায় আমাদের পঠন পাঠন এই যে মহাযজ্ঞ এটা সফল হয়, এটাই আমাদের প্রার্থনা। যখন আমরা শুনবো 10 বছর 15 বছর বাদে আমাদের একজন ছাত্র, আমাদের একজন ছাত্রী বিশ্ববিখ্যাত একটা হয়েছে এবং কাজ করেছে এবং সমস্ত মানুষকে নিঃস্বার্থভাবে সেবা করছে, আমাদের বুকটা ফুলে উঠবে আনন্দে। যদি কোনোদিন শুনি ভগবান না করুন আমাদের ছাত্র এমন কাজ করেছে যেটা আমাদের লজ্জা, তাহলে আমরা দুঃখে ফেটে যাব। রিমেম্বার, ইউ হ্যাভ এ হিউজ রেসপন্সিবিলিটি। এখানে আসার ফলে তোমাদের দায়িত্ব বেড়ে গেছে। শুধু তা নয়, সবসময় লোকে বলবে এই তো রামকৃষ্ণ মিশনের ছাত্র। যদি তোমাদের দেখে লোকে বলে এই দেখলে তো চোখে মুখে কিরকম দীপ্তি, কিরকম পবিত্রতা, কিরকম আনন্দ, কিরকম জ্ঞানের প্রতি আগ্রহ, তখন লোকে বলবে হবে না, রামকৃষ্ণ মিশন ছাত্র যে, রামকৃষ্ণ মিশনের ছাত্রী যে। যদি দেখে রামকৃষ্ণ মিশন ছি ছি এরকম কাজ করলো, এরকম যেন না হয়, প্রথম থেকেই তোমাদের অত্যন্ত সতর্ক হতে হবে। এখানে আসার ফলে তোমাদের দায়িত্ব সহস্রগুণ বেড়ে গেছে, আমাদেরও যেমন বেড়ে গেছে। সবসময় সতর্ক থাকবে, রামকৃষ্ণ বিবেকানন্দের গায়ে যেন কলঙ্ক না লাগে আমাদের আচরণের মাধ্যমে। এটা যদি মনে থাকে এবং সবসময় যদি মনে রাখো তোমাদের বাবা মা কি স্যাক্রিফাইস করে, কি ত্যাগ করে তোমাদের পড়াচ্ছে। সকলে তোমরা এসছো মিডল ক্লাস ফ্যামিলি থেকে, বিশাল টাকা কারো নেই, তা সত্ত্বেও বাবা মা চাইছেন আমাদের ছেলে আমার মেয়ে যেন একটা ভালো শিক্ষিত যেন হয়। Swami Vivekananda was the first person in India who started this movement for female education in a huge way, for which Sister Nivedita, his dear Irish disciple, came, lived in Calcutta, and literally gave her life and died at a very, very young age. Female education. Swamiji's dream, স্বপ্ন ছিল। আমাদের খুবই আনন্দ, অনেক বুদ্ধিমতী মেয়েরা এখানে ভর্তি হয়েছে আমাদের বিভিন্ন এতে। আস্তে আস্তে মেয়েদের শিক্ষার মানটাও বাড়ছে, কারণ ওরা বসে বসে কিন্তু পড়ছে। এটা যেন থাকে। ছেলে মেয়ে একসঙ্গে থাকলে অনেক রকম সমস্যা হয় আমরা জানি। তোমরা ভাই বোনের মতন থাকবে, আনন্দে থাকবে, একমাত্র ফোকাস তোমাদের থাকবে পড়াশোনার জন্য। বাঁদরামি ছ্যাবলামি করে জীবনে কিন্তু প্রচুর সময় নষ্ট হয়। 15 বছর 20 বছর বাদে অনেকগুলো ছেলে উল্টোপাল্টা করেছে, আমরাও করে এসে বললে কিভাবে সময় নষ্ট করলাম, তখন বুঝতে পারিনি আমার ছেলেকে নিয়ে এসছি ভর্তি করার। আমি তখন বলি তুই যখন ছিলি তো প্রচন্ড দুষ্টুমি করে এখানে জেলখানার মতন থাকবো না বলছিলিস, তখন কি বুঝলাম তাহলে আবার তোর ছেলেকে আবার জেলখানা কেন ভর্তি করাচ্ছিস। যেখানে বাইরের বন্ধন থাকবে সেখানে অন্তরে মুক্তি পাবে, যেখানে বাইরের মুক্তি বলে মনে করো, স্বাধীনতা মনে করো, অন্তরে কিন্তু বন্ধনে থাকবে। এই কথা বলে সকলকে আন্তরিক স্নেহ ভালোবাসা, তোমাদের স্বাগত, এবং ঠাকুর স্বামীজি দুহাত তুলে তোমাদের আশীর্বাদ করবেন। This particular university has been envisioned by Swami Vivekananda. I have been associated with the university since inception, when the university was just on paper. There's nothing, literally nothing. And I'm now amazed how so many things happen so fast. That was because Sri Ramakrishna's Abhaya Hasto, এই আশীর্বাদ এই ইউনিভার্সিটির উপরে আছে। এখানে যারা আছেন শিক্ষক শিক্ষিকা, ছাত্রছাত্রী, কর্মচারীরা, সন্ন্যাসীরা, সকলের উপরে আমি বিবেকানন্দ রামকৃষ্ণের, শ্রীমা সারদা দেবীর আশীর্বাদ বর্ষিত হোক, বর্ষিত হচ্ছে। সেই স্নিগ্ধ সলিলে রামকৃষ্ণ ভাব গঙ্গাতে আমরা অবগাহন করে ওই গঙ্গাতে ভাসতে ভাসতে, হাসতে হাসতে ব্রহ্মানন্দ সাগরে পরমানন্দে আমরা কিন্তু মিলিত হব, এই প্রার্থনা। সকলকে ধন্যবাদ। এটা মন্ত্র দিয়ে শেষ করছি আমরা। ওম পূর্ণমদঃ পূর্ণমিদং পূর্ণাৎ পূর্ণমুদচ্যতে পূর্ণস্য পূর্ণমাদায় পূর্ণমেবাবশিষ্যতে। ওম শান্তি শান্তি শান্তি। হরিঃ ওম তৎসৎ। শ্রীরামকৃষ্ণার্পণমস্তু।